All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you how to install the Dolos. First of all, the packaging, it's going to come in a box that looks like this. What you'll find inside the box are handguard, the locking collar, and a tri-lug. This is what gets attached to the upper receiver. There will also be three set screws that will need to be installed into the lock collar. You're going to need two Allen wrenches. One will be a 1/8 inch, the other be a 1/16 inch. So we're going to go ahead now and just show you dropping one of the set screws into the tri-lug. And what you want to do is make sure that the set screw stays underneath of the surface here of this tri-lug. It's going to be important when we go to install it onto the lock collar. So now what we're going to do is take our tri-lug, install it onto the upper receiver, and what we have here is just a stripped upper receiver. So we'll take this, and all we're going to do is we're going to screw it on, and we want to screw it down to a point where the tri-lug is relatively flush with the upper receiver, and then align it with one of these three gas holes to the gas hole on the upper receiver. So we'll check that, just make sure, and it's lined up. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and tighten up the set screw. And that will prevent the tri-lug from moving on the upper receiver. Okay, so that's step one. Step two then is going to be taking the lock collar, installing it on the barrel. So what we'll do is we have the lock collar and we have a barrel. So we're just going to slide the lock collar onto the barrel, and then we're going to go ahead and install our gas tube. And what you want to do with the gas tube is, as you're lining it up, there's a slot here inside of the lock collar, and that's what allows it to twist around on the barrel and lock to the tri-lug. You're going to want to make sure that the gas tube is inside that slot. And then we're just going to tighten down the gas block in using whatever attachment point the gas block has. Next, we should have free spin on the lock collar, which we do have here. So the next thing we're going to do is take the lock collar. We're going to ensure that we have timing correct to the tri-lug on the upper receiver. And to do that, all we're going to do is slide our gas tube in, slide the lock collar down, and we heard the locking mechanism lock up. Now we just want to check the fit, and the barrel is set in there very, very solidly. So we know now that we've got the timing on the tri-lug and the timing set correctly to the timing on the lock collar. We'll remove the protective netting. So we're going to take our handguard and we're just going to screw it onto the lock collar. All right, so now that we have our final assembly tested and we know that everything works, what we want to do is take our 1/16 of an inch Allen wrench and we want to tighten down the last two set screws on the tri-lug. You don't want to over torque this because you'll damage the threads on the upper receiver. So that's one. and that's 2. Now we're going to test fit it, make sure that everything works okay. And there you have the Huntertown Arms Dolos.